Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us this wonderful cold afternoon / evening in Chicago with lots of snow. Hopefully Dawn's going to take us somewhere where we can kind of escape from that for a little bit. But I am Lisa Torgerson. I'm the Director of Leisure Travel Services here at Travelex International, and I have invited Dawn Elmendorf from Rocky Mountaineer to join us. They have an exciting new product that I was very excited about, and I wanted her to share it with you. We all have been introduced, I think, well, at least here in our office, we're familiar with their Canada product, but this is a new product in Colorado and Utah, I believe, but this one's going to be concentrating on Colorado. But I do want to encourage you as we go through the presentation, at the bottom of your screen, you'll see a chat box. Go ahead and type your questions in the chat box and we'll save those for the end. And I will make sure that we get every question answered by Dawn. And when she does start the presentation, we're both going to go off camera and I'm going to mute myself so that we can thoroughly enjoy what she has for us this evening. So Dawn, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay, great. Thanks, Lisa. I appreciate it. And yeah, so as Lisa mentioned, tonight I'm going to really talk mainly about I'm going to talk about who Rocky Mountaineer is for those of you that may not know. And then I am going to briefly mention the Canada product just really briefly because Travelex does have a group going with us next year that we would love to have you join us with. And then I'm going to talk about our US product and finish with a group they're doing in the US. So two groups with Travelex International that you can go on. I'm really going to focus on the US one, but I do want to briefly mention the Canadian one as well. So let me see, there we go. So, in case you don't know who Rocky Mountaineer is, you can probably tell by the picture, we provide amazing rail journey vacations traveling through both the Canadian Rockies and here in the US. And one of the biggest misconceptions is, do I sleep on the train? You do not sleep on the train. We are daylight only train travel. That is so important because you're arguably going to two of the prettiest areas of the world, the Canadian Rockies and the Colorado Rockies. You want to see it, right? You don't want to sleep through it. You certainly don't want to be traveling through it at night. So we are daylight only train travel. That's one of the few things that makes us very, very distinct. We're one of the only, we actually are the only train company in the US and Canada that offers luxury rail travel for daylight only. Last year, we actually celebrated our 30th year of travel. Not exactly how we planned on celebrating last year, right? Back in 1990, we launched a daylight only rail vacations throughout the Canadian Rockies with routes traveling from Vancouver to quaint mountain times like Jasper, Banff, Lake Louise. We always had our sights set on expanding into the US. And I have to say, if there is one positive thing that came out of COVID, because we all have to see a silver lining, right? It's that we were able to ramp that up and start in the US as well. So Rocky Mountaineer, it's not just the rail journey. Rocky Mountaineer, we have complete packages. So we offer carefully curated packages traveling on the rail either 2 or 3 days, depending on which route you're taking and whether you're in Canada or the US. And then combining it with sightseeing packages when you're over there. An example here, this is our route, this is our map for the Canada. Like I mentioned, I'm going to talk about Canada just really briefly first. 3 routes in Canada, the solid lines. So 2 routes that go to Jasper, 1 that goes to Lake Louise and Banff, and then you overnight in the White Diamonds. So for example, that dark green solid line, that would be our 3-day route to Jasper, where you overnight in Whistler and Quesnel. That green dotted line, there's no rail that goes north and south between Jasper, Banff, Lake Louise, and Calgary. So this is where the touring comes in, and that touring can be done by motor coach or by a self-drive rental car. And Travelex International put together the entire package for you. So everything is included that you want included. Your hotels, your touring on the train, etc. In Canada, we do have 2 different classes of service, gold and silver. You can see the different levels. And the reason I'm telling you this is because Gold Leaf is what the Travelex International group is taking. It's our 2-level rail car. It's the big domed windows, where it's 180-degree view. You sit up top and then you take a spiral staircase and you dine restaurant style on the main level. It also has this outdoor viewing area. So that's what will be used for the group. The group is going September 19th through the 26th of 2021, 8 days, 7 nights. It's on our first passage to the west route. This goes Vancouver to Kamloops. You're going to overnight in Kamloops and then continue on your rail journey to Banff. You're going to spend 3 nights in Banff. So you have 2 nights in Vancouver at the Pan Pacific Hotel. I mean, these hotels that they've chosen are amazing. The Pan Pacific Hotel, then you'll overnight in Kamloops. Then you have 3 nights in Banff at the Royal Canadian. You're going to have sightseeing. All your sightseeing will be included. You'll actually get a free day in Banff as well. And then you're going to finish in Calgary at the Fairmont Palliser Hotel, which I have stayed at, and it's absolutely spectacular. So please contact Travelex International if you're interested in that. But like I mentioned, the US product is new. We want to talk about that. So I am so proud to announce our newest rail route, Rockies to the Red Rocks. This takes you from Denver, Colorado to Moab, Utah, over 2 unforgettable days featuring the awe-inspiring sights of the Colorado Rockies and the remarkable rock formations of Moab, Utah. Now, for our inaugural season, because this is our inaugural season in 2021, we are only operating from August 15th to October 23rd. Like I said, we had to put together, we kind of had to go into high speed on this. So this is the dates that we were able to do: August 15th to October 23rd, 40 departures spread over 10 weeks. I can tell you, this is selling out very quickly. So if this is something that you're interested in, you are going to want to talk to Travelex International about. In fact, they're one of the very few people that were able to get group space on one of these departures. So let me start first by talking about the train itself, Rocky Mountaineer. I kind of call it Rocky. It's a day on board the train. And what that means is, like I said, daylight only train travel. Now, in this picture, you see a chef there. That's because every single rail car, whether you're in Canada or in the US, every rail car, whether it's Silverleaf or Goldleaf, has its own kitchen and culinary team. Think about that. That is really important. Your food is not being made 8, 10 cars over and it's cold by the time it gets to you. No, this is world-class cuisine. I'm not kidding. We win award upon award upon award for our food. It's all locally sourced food. In the US, we're going to add a little bit of a Southwest flair to it. So it's going to be really fun. Everything is made fresh in your rail car and then plated to your preference, brought to you. You're also going to have hosts on board. That's another thing that makes Rocky Mountaineer unique. The daylight only train travel, the world-class cuisine, and the commentary. Like I said, nobody else out there does it like this. The coast will do commentary. So they'll tell you the history of the area. They'll tell you the sites that you're coming up to. They'll tell you some fun human interest stories of the area. But what I love about them, they're great animal spotters. So they actually carry walkie-talkies with them. So if anybody on the train spots an animal, they'll hear about it. And then all of a sudden they'll yell out, "There's a bear on the right." And then everybody screams and jumps up and runs and takes a picture of the bear. It's so true. But that's where it becomes a fun social interaction. Because trust me, once that first bear or bald eagle or mountain lion is spotted, everybody gets into it and starts looking. And it does become a fun social interaction at that point. So in the US, we are using our Silverleaf rail cars, our single level coach. So you may be saying to yourself, well, Dawn, why are you not bringing your 2-level rail cars down into the US? Why aren't you bringing the Goldleaf down? Well, there's a reason. Some of the tunnels that we'll be going through in the US are not big enough to accommodate our bi-level Goldleaf dome car. So we will be bringing our Silverleaf car. It's a great option as well. In fact, some people prefer Silverleaf over Goldleaf. Some people prefer Goldleaf over Silverleaf. It's really just a matter of personal preference because, as you can see here, big, wide picture windows. still a domed roof, but it goes up about a third of the way. The differences on the gold leaf, you sit up top, so you have a nice, wonderful overview. On the silver leaf, you're down kind of closer to nature. So that's why some people prefer one, some people prefer the other. It's just really a difference. You can see here, plenty of leg room. I mean, you can't really tell, but trust me, although I'm 5'2", I always have plenty of leg room. But back in the day when we were traveling, I was fortunate enough to take host groups on board Rocky Mountaineer a couple times a year to showcase our product. And the last group I took in October of 2019 had a gentleman who was 7 foot tall. So I got to admit, I wasn't so sure how it was going to be. He confirmed that absolutely plenty of legroom on board Rocky Mountaineer. So I was happy to hear that. So don't take it from my 5'2" stature. Take it from somebody who's a little taller than me. You will have plenty of legroom on board. I mentioned the world-class cuisine. When you're on the train, and this is true whether you're in Canada or the US, all your meals and drinks are included when you're with us on the train. So as I mentioned, the food is going to be locally sourced with a Western flair, prepared fresh. So if you have any dietary restrictions, please, please, please let Travelex International know about it ahead of time, because the sooner we know about it, the better it is. And we can handle almost any type of dietary request except for kosher. So gluten-free, sodium-free, whatever you want, we can handle. Just please give us time on that. On Silverleaf, you get a choice of 2 entrees at breakfast and lunch. And as you see here, the meals are plated to your preference, delivered right to you at your seat, enhancing, just the relaxing atmosphere. So you're able to eat. And then, of course, they're going to bring around snacks and cheese and wine and crackers. And it seems like you're constantly eating and drinking on board Rocky Mountaineer. And like I said, the food is amazing. I mean, we have gourmet snacks, nut and dried fruit mix. We have kind of a spicy mix, all kinds of things on board Rocky Mountaineer. We're not just giving you a bag of potato chips for a snack. And like I said, wine and cheese as well. So every night when you're traveling on board Rocky Mountaineer, I've mentioned this a couple times, daylight only train travel, you're always overnighting in hotels, getting a good night's rest. So what I love about Rocky Mountaineer is it's kind of like 2 vacations in one. You have your relaxing time when you're on the train, because when you're on the train, you're going to get on the train and you're not going to get off until your next stop, your next overnight stop. So you're not getting on and off the train like you do on a motor coach tour, but we combine it with motor coach tours. So this is our route. And in order to have a route in the US, we had to have the same things that we have in Western Canada. It had to be daylight only, multi-day train travel, going to quaint towns and iconic destinations, and overnighting halfway in between to keep the integrity of the daylight only train travel. And we found it. We found it in the Denver to Moab area. So as you can see, the rail route goes Denver to Moab, Moab to Denver. It goes both ways. And then you can do the motor coach portion either up to Salt Lake, over to Vegas. And again, so you could start in Vegas, do the motor coach touring to many of the national parks. We have about 12 packages that you can do. And same thing in Salt Lake. That's where we do the packages. Now, this is for individuals. We have the group that is doing something completely different, very unique, just to Travelex International. If you tried to do this individually, the group individually, we couldn't do that. So I'm going to first talk about in case you can't do the group, and then I'll talk about the group. I know it's a little confusing, but the group itinerary is so, so unique. So like I said, you can start in Salt Lake, you can start in Las Vegas, and we provide motor coach tours. So this is like a guided vacation, meaning you're going to have your driver and your travel director with you. And then you'll have unique activities such as, a boat ride on the Colorado River. You can also do it by self-drive. We have a self-drive program as well. And this is where Travelex International would work with Rocky Mountaineer, would provide you with a full-size rental car, your hotels, but everything is at your own pace. Okay, so like I said, we have different packages. We have about 12 packages on the motor coach between either Las Vegas or Salt Lake, then getting on the train. And we have 4 packages of self-drive, doing the self-drive either again from Salt Lake or Vegas, and then getting on the train. But like I mentioned, I really do want to talk about the group mainly. It is always better with company. And the neat thing about this is, you may be traveling with people you already know. Perhaps you've been on another group with Travelex International. If not, maybe you're going to be meeting some new people from the Chicago area that you travel with in the future. So I think I have done Rocky Mountaineer by myself. I've done it with another couple, and I've done it with a group. And I don't know, to me, the group is always the most fun. So this is the unique rail journey that we did with Travelex International. So hopefully, I think I have the dates wrong on that. It is not August 21 through the 18th. It is actually the 21 through the 28th. Sorry about that. That's a typo. So August 21 through 28 of 2021. And like I said, if you like this route, the only way to do it is with the group on Travelex International, because this is really, really unique to them. I'm going to go over the day-by-day itinerary, but really you're going to get 2 days on board Rocky Mountaineer. All the gratuities will be handled. Your luggage, I want to talk about that really briefly. You're not going to have to worry about your luggage. When you're on the train, we actually hand you your key before you get off the train to your hotel room, take you to your hotel room. Your luggage is already in your room waiting for you. You're already checked in. You literally walk to your hotel room, walk in your room, and your luggage is there waiting for you. It's going to include 7 breakfasts, 2 lunches, and 4 dinners, and all that stuff, all the sightseeing, all the hotels. I'm not going to sit here and just read that off. So let's get started with the day-by-day itinerary. After checking into your hotel in Colorado Springs, Colorado at the Cheyenne Mountain Resort, I mean, doesn't that look absolutely beautiful? You'll be able to, explore this upscale. It's a wood, beam, and stone resort. It's in the foothills of the Rocky Mountains. So you'll be able to explore this on your own a bit. And this evening, you're going to be able to relax with some cowboy fun and food and entertainment at the Flying W Ranch. This really is a symbol of Western Americana heritage. The next day, you're going to be in for a full day of sightseeing, including a visit to the Garden of the Gods. Garden of the Gods is home to 1,300 acres of red sandstone formations. You're also going to stop at the charming town of Manitos Springs, and there you will have some free time to explore and maybe find a quaint little restaurant to have lunch on your own. After lunch, you're going to climb the well-known Pikes Peak Cog Railway. This is the world's highest cog railway, so you'll get to enjoy a ride on the Pikes, that's hard to say, Pikes Peak Cog Railway. And then you're also going to, the next day, you're going to be able to ride the vintage train of the Royal Gorge route on the Colorado Rockies. And it has wonderful comfort and style. It's really a winning combination of breathtaking scenery and exceptional service, because you're going to have delicious food on this train as well. Not quite as good as the Rocky Mountaineer one, but it will still be wonderful. So you actually get to ride quite a few trains on this unique itinerary. Once off board, you'll actually visit Royal Gorge Park and Bridge, and you'll enjoy some free time to walk on the world's highest suspension bridge, if you so choose, and explore this pretty park. So I'm really interested in this. This is one of the few things on this I have not done, and I am very interested in seeing how that goes, because I'm usually not a big suspension bridge person, but this actually sounds really interesting. Next, you're going to visit the Great Sand Dunes National Parks. It's basically a sandbox of epic proportion. The entire dune field encompasses 30 square miles, and some of the tallest dune towers are up to 750 feet. That's pretty amazing. You're going to overnight in Alamosa at the Hampton Inn, and you're going to have dinner there. You're going to enjoy a restaurant with some local fare, and then you're going to spend the night in the bright and contemporary Hampton Inn, and it just has absolutely stunning backdrops on that. So you're now in Alamosa, Colorado. The next morning, you're going to depart Alamos to explore Mesa Verde National Park. Now, Mesa Verde National Park is actually our nation's largest archaeological preserve. It has 4,000 sites, including 600 cliff dwellings. This picture here is the Spruce Tree House. So it's one of the best preserved cliff dwellings in the park. This evening, you're going to overnight into the Strater Hotel, and this is in Durango, Colorado. And this is a landmark hotel downtown. And you'll have time now to, again, we love to do a combination of free time and sightseeing. So you'll have free time to explore Durango. It's a quaint little Western town. The next morning, you're going to take a nostalgic ride on the Durango Silverton Narrow Gauge Railroad. This is designated a historic civil engineering and national landmark. So you're going to have some amazing views on this. As you can see with this, and this is what makes, Rocky Mountaineer and this vacation unique. You're going to see sights that you're not going to be able to see if you were to drive this area. Like, look at that waterfall coming down. You wouldn't be able to see that if you were to drive around this area. A lot of the sites that you'll see are not accessible by car. So you're going to then enjoy time in Silverton, Colorado. You're going to enjoy a scenic drive on the $1 Million Highway. And here in Silverton, you'll have, again, time to explore, find a cute little restaurant to have lunch on your own before heading into Moab. So welcome to Moab. So Moab is the town that is closest to many of the national parks, including Arches National Park, Canyonlands National Park. This is Dead Horse State Point. And the town of Moab itself is about 5,000 people. Really cute town, lots of boutiques. You can see here an art gallery and lots of great restaurants. You will spend 2 nights in Moab, and you're going to stay at, you're going to spend 1 night in Moab. You're going to stay 1 night in Moab at the Hyatt Place. Now, the Hyatt Place is it's a 3-story building, and it sits atop the beautiful Red Rocks. I mean, it's just a perfect location. I mean, look at the view. It's just an amazing view. So 1 night in Moab, you are going to that evening have a stargazing experience. So you're going to have some local astronomers and just explore the wonders of the night sky. You are going to see so many stars. It's just so different than even a starry night in the Chicago area. It's just so vast. That's really the only way to explain it. I mean, just that you realize the vastness of our universe when you have this stargazing experience. The next morning, you will visit Arches National Park. So this is home to over 3,000 natural arches. The highlights are the delicate arch you may have seen. That's the single arch, the balance rock, and the windows, which is pictured here. You're going to enjoy a nice picnic lunch while discovering some of these unique sandstone formations. Later on that day, around 2 in the afternoon, welcome aboard the Rocky Mountaineer. So now we have, what I think is the highlight of the trip, because this is just very unique. So you have experienced so many rails, and now you're going to experience the granddaddy of them all, the Rocky Mountaineer. So you're going to sit back, relax, enjoy the amazing scenery along with our world-class cuisine. You are going to have a wonderful dinner on board Rocky Mountaineer, and you'll arrive into Glenwood Springs around 7 p.m. So here's the rail route for the first day on board the Rocky Mountaineer. Like I said, starting in Moab around 2 p.m., you're going to pass all those sites. I'm going to go over a few of them. I'm not going to go over all of them, but you'll pass those sites and then get into Glenwood Springs around 7 p.m. Again, you're going to have some snacks on board. You're going to have some cocktails on board, alcoholic, non-alcoholic beverages, all included. And you're going to have a wonderful 3-course meal on board Rocky Mountaineer. So this section from Moab to Glenwood Springs is 194 miles, but it will take 5 hours. Why? Because we only travel about 30 miles an hour on board Rocky Mountaineer. So this is not like a speed train, a bullet train through Japan. This is a nice leisurely train ride through the Colorado Rockies. In fact, we always joke at Rocky Mountaineer that we go at Kodak speed. We travel at Kodak speed so people can take pictures. So some of the sites that you're going to be seeing, a couple of my favorites are Mount Peel. And this is the highest point of the La Salle Mountains. The La Salle Mountains actually span about 10 miles. And they were named after the Spanish term, the Sierra La Salle, meaning the Salt Mountains. And it was the prominent landmark on the old Spanish Trail. Ruby Canyon is a 25-mile canyon of the Colorado River. Obviously, you can see where it gets its name, right? The red sandstone cliffs that line the canyon walls. This is one of those sites, again, that you're only going to see on board Rocky Mountaineer. You cannot see Ruby Canyon if you were to drive this. You will see Parachute Creek. Parachute Creek is a 15-mile long tributary of the Colorado River. You'll be traveling through that. And you're going to arrive into Glenwood Springs around 7 p.m. Now, Glenwood Springs is a resort town really known for its hot springs. There's plenty of shops and restaurants, and you're going to have already had dinner on board. But hey, maybe you want to go grab a cocktail somewhere. Go down to 7th Street. 7th Street is kind of where all the action is, where the shops and the restaurants are. The shops will be open late too, so you won't have to worry about that. But just hang out in 7th Street for a little bit, because what I get a feeling when I'm there, it's kind of a street fair feel to it. Because like I said, lots of shops, restaurants, but musicians will all of a sudden start playing, or markets will all of a sudden pop up. So if you have the time, take time to just stretch your legs after being on the train for a few hours and head down to 7th Street. The next day, you're going to have a little bit longer day on Rocky Mountaineer. You're going to get up around, you're going to depart Glenwood Springs around 9 a.m., making your way to Denver, getting into Denver around 5 p.m. Again, you're not going to have to worry about your luggage at all. Everything is going to be taken care of for you. So these are some of the sites that you're going to be seeing that day. And again, I picked a few of my favorites. Gore Canyon, another one of those sites you can only see on board Rocky Mountaineer. Or if you're a Class 5 whitewater rafter, you can see it too, because it's known for its wild Class 5 whitewater rafting on the upper Colorado River. Now, I'm pretty darn adventurous. I'm not Class 5 adventurous. So I don't know about you, but I am going to see Gore Canyon on board Rocky Mountaineer with a glass of wine in my hand. I'm not going to see it whitewater rafting on Class 5 rapids. You'll go through Moffett Tunnel. Here's one of the reasons we can't bring our bi-level gold leaf rail cars down to the U.S. The Moffett Tunnel it was actually completed in the 1920s, and it connects the Denver area to Utah by actually tunneling underneath the Continental Divide. And just north of Denver, you're going to hit the Big Ten Curve. Coined as an engineering marvel, it was built in the early 1990s to slowly gain elevation before reaching the Continental Divide. So it is an engineering marvel. We at Rocky Mountaineer love our engineering marvels. The group that's going on in September to Canada, they have an engineering marvel, the spiral tunnels as well. So yes, we love our engineering marvels, especially with the railways, and I'll be darned, we found one in the United States as well. And you will be arriving into Denver. And Denver, of course, known as the Mile High City due to its altitude. I love Denver. I know it pretty well. I have a couple nephews that live there. So some really fun things to do in Denver are the Denver Art Museum. Larimer Square, that's the oldest part of Denver, has Victorian era buildings. Denver actually was ranked the 4th most walkable city in the US. Now, I don't know who ranks that, to be honest with you, but I do know it's really walkable. They have the 16th Street shuttle that goes all the way down 16th Street and stops at every block. Of course, if you're a beer drinker, you know Denver, for it has a ton of craft breweries. I recommend going to the Lodo district down there, which is short for the Lower Downtown District. You will be spending one night at the Raleigh Hotel. And this is actually the hotel right near Coors Field. So it's kind of poised to be the go-to gathering place in Denver's fastest growing and most vibrant neighborhood. The next day, you're going to fly home. You're going to look at your pictures on the airplane and just reminisce about the wonderful trip that you did have. So again, apologies for the typo on this. It is August 21st to the 28th of 2021. And this kind of gives you the route. So as mentioned, you'll fly into Denver, but then head down to Colorado Springs, spending 2 nights, doing all the touring we talked about, then getting on the train after spending a night in Moab, and overnighting in Glenwood Springs, finishing off in Denver. So you're doing a big circle. Space is limited on this, okay? Space is very limited on this. Again, I hope you can take one of the 2 group departures that Travelex International does have. We do know that peace of mind is really important for you. So we have some really great flexible terms. With the groups only require a 10% deposit. And that deposit is going to be refundable until final payment is due at 30 days prior to departure. If you're doing an individual booking, you think, oh, this looks really neat, I can't go on the group dates, but I would love to do something like it, then we can certainly, contact Travelex International about that. And our deposits for individuals not doing group departures is 20%. And that again is refundable until final payment is due, which is 30 days prior to departure. So we have some amazing flexible terms. Like I said, the group deposits are only 10%. The individual deposits are 20%, all refundable until 30 days prior to departure, which is when your final payment is due. So please, please, please contact Travelex International. I love working with these agents, these travel advisors there. They really know their stuff. They really, really do. What I love about them is they're going to tell you, where you want to spend the money and where maybe you can save a little money. I mean, this is a luxury rail vacation. You don't want to skimp on it, right? But there's some places that maybe you can save a little bit of money. So they're going to be able to tell you all that. And they'll be able to put together the perfect vacation for you. So thank you so much. Please, if there's any questions, now's the time. I love this picture, by the way. So let me know.
Yeah, so as a reminder, if you do have questions, please type them in the chat box. But Dawn, I wonder if you could address, because I don't think we addressed it, and I think this is questions I'm getting, is the safety protocols.
Sure. So whether you're in US or Canada, we are going to abide by any safety protocols that the governments mandate, and then some. I can tell you that right now. Lisa, this is ever changing, right? Yep. I mean, we're changing. These can constantly change, but I can tell you right now what we're doing. In fact, I just yesterday had a safety protocol meeting. So we have electrostatic sprayers. We'll be spraying the trains every evening. If you've been on Rocky Mountaineer, you have, Lisa, you know how clean it is to begin with, but somehow they're going to make it even cleaner. I don't know how, because somebody's always coming around cleaning. But we will have that. We're going to have individual, instead of salt and pepper shakers, individual condiments on it. Our hosts will be wearing masks the entire time. And as of now, we'll ask that people wear masks when you're not eating and drinking. I kind of chuckle when I say that, because you know that you're always eating and drinking on board Rocky Mountaineer. So I'm like, how is that going to work? But if you're going like to the restroom or something, we would ask that you would wear your mask. And again, this can all change. We have, different ideas on that. But we also have a air filtration system that captures 99.9% of the particles in the air. So it will be, absolutely safe to travel on board Rocky Mountaineer. Whatever social distancing guidelines are mandated by the government, we will absolutely follow.
Okay. One question we have, is there any time for visiting the springs in Glenwood?
You'll be getting in around 7 o'clock, and I do believe they stay open. I'm not sure exactly how late in August, but I'm pretty sure it's until about 10. So you would have time. I think it's about $25 to do that ahead of time. There's two different springs actually in Glenwood. There's the Glenwood Springs Resort, and then there's the Iron Mountain Springs as well. So probably the Glenwood Resort would be the closest, depending on which hotel is used in Glenwood. We do not know the hotel in Glenwood yet, because that's kind of an operational thing for Rocky Mountaineer. You'll find out about 60 days prior to departure. That's the only hotel we won't know until 60 days prior.
And then would you also just kind of cover, I mean, I know this, but I figure you're answering all the questions. Our group is not we don't have a big group. So could you talk about the space that we have on our group?
As far as the number of seats?
Well, a number of places that we have.
I believe you have 25 or 27 is the number of seats that you have. And like I said, this is a really unique trip that if you tried to, Lisa, if you tried to book for somebody individually, you couldn't book that one. This is unique for Travelex International. And as you know, Lisa, we got really lucky with the groups. We had more group requests than we had space. So of course we put it to our best agencies, and Travelex International was one of them that got one of the first group spaces available. So.
Yeah, well, we thought it was important because we wanted to pick someplace that people actually get travel to.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
exactly.
But I also think that area of our US, I mean, that's one thing that I'm learning, is that I'm learning more about, things in our own backyard. And I think this area is just spectacular.
You know what? I agree with you. It seems like, we're so like, oh, I want to go to Europe and do this, and I want to go to Asia and do that. And we have so much natural beauty in the United States that maybe that's another good thing about COVID is, again, trying to see a silver lining, is that we can appreciate the natural beauty that is in our own country.
Well, I'm just appreciative that you brought the Rocky Mountaineer to the US.
Isn't it exciting?
I think once people get on board and experience it, it's definitely unique. I like the fact you don't sleep on the train, that you're seeing the sights at night, because if you're on there at night, you see dark.
Right. That makes no sense. So
yeah,
because you are going to some of the prettiest areas, and you absolutely want to see them. Now, I'm not saying you can't take a nap. We're not going to wake you up, but because I've gotten busted doing that. It's so relaxing. The motion of the train just is so relaxing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't see any other questions. I will encourage all the people that are attending, if you do have questions, by all means, reach out to us. If we don't have the answer, of course, I can always get in contact with Dawn. She's always at my fingertips. It seems like I can get a hold of her anytime I need to. So feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions. We will be sending a follow-up email that you can actually access the two groups we do have, but also there will be a recording of this webinar, just in case you'd like to go back and watch it or share it with your family and friends. You'll have the ability to do that. So Dawn, I want to thank you so much for your time with us today, and for taking us on a journey, and at least getting my mind off the snow and the cold. So, even if it was for a little bit.
That's right. You'll be hitting the mountains, but trust me, it's not going to be. My daughter yesterday, and she's 27, she goes, I've never seen this much snow in my life. I'm like, no, you haven't. Yeah. I think, didn't it say the most snow since 1979?
Yeah, I know. It's been a while. So I think it was saving up from the last couple of years where we really didn't get a lot of snow. I think
we got paid back. So so dream about going this summer to the Colorado Rockies, and in September to the Canadian Rockies. I promise you there's not going to be this much snow even in the Canadian Rockies this fall.
All right. Well, Dawn, thank you again. And everybody, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. We do have another upcoming webinar in March, so look out for that when we start sending out the information on that as well. We'll continue to take you on these journeys and keep you dreaming until you're ready to actually travel. So thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.